What's going on? We are live. I'm going to check the audio before I dive into retouching this photo. So let me hop on over to the Facebook. What's going on? We are live. I'm going to check the audio before I dive into retouching this photo. All right. So let me hop. There we go. We look good. That sounds good. I'm going to get rid of these headphones because I can't speak with headphones on when I do live feeds. And there goes my camera. So let me test this. It's always a cluster with live feeds. And we'll pop that back on there. Let's see what happens. All right. So, yeah, feel free to ask any questions. I'm going to retouch some photos. I haven't done a late night live edit in a while. Shouldn't be too long. I'm probably going to spend about half hour, 45 minutes on this photo. This is from a photo series and new portfolio that I'm working on for fine art portraits in the studio, which include hair and makeup and the outfits for everyone. So if you guys have any comments, questions, go ahead and ask them in the comments and I will be able to answer them when I glance up from the dark hole of Photoshop world. So yeah, let's so what we're looking at right now, I'm going to get rid of my camera because apparently my webcam wanted to kick out on me, but you guys can still hear me, so that's good. If anything weird happens with the audio, just let me know. So let's see. So what we're looking at right now is this. Wow. Hold on one second. We're going to do this again. Let's try this again. Everything just crashed on me. All right. Give it 1 second. So how's everyone's week been so far? Happy Wednesday, I guess. This is fun. All right, so I already have this photo open in Photoshop. I preloaded it, so it doesn't really matter if Lightroom crashed. But typically what I do is I do a basic color correction in Lightroom. I bring up my shadows a little bit so it's not as harsh and work a little bit on the skin tones right in Lightroom, and then I open it up in Photoshop for editing. So I'm going to open this up here and turn off my rulers, and I'm going to zoom in. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer just so it's non-destructive, and I have the original on the bottom layer. What I typically do is go through and clean up any distractions right off the bat. So things like these little hairs that caught some light. I try not to make it look too unnatural, but these are a little distracting. Same thing up here. So I'm going to work my way through and kind of remove some of those. Great. And again, if you guys have any questions, just write them. I'll take a look, answer anything you want. Now, there's a million ways to retouch faces. This is by no means a high-end retouch, where I go in and dodge and burn every single pore. Some photos require that, some of them don't. And it all depends on the technique that you're used to. I am going to do a frequency separation retouch when I get rid of this big stuff. Kids always have boogers. Always keep an eye out for the boogers in the kids' photos. Great. Good. Made a little bit of a mess here. Let me clean this up a little bit more. Get rid of that banner for you guys so you guys can see the settings. All right. If we zoom in a lot too, you can actually see me right here. Here's my arm. There's my camera. My hand holding the bottom and my trigger finger up there. All right. So that's before and that's after. Great. And what I'm going to try to go for with this one is more of a painterly look. I want this to kind of look like a classic painted portrait. So the retouch is going to be a little bit extreme, and then I'll probably dial it back just a little bit to bring in more texture and kind of match my style a little bit more. I think I'm going to get rid of this hair. All right. All right, so now I'm going to use the Beauty Retouch panel and do a frequency separation on this. And what this is going to do is it's going to separate my texture from my tone. So this will really allow me to focus just on the tones while not messing with the texture and vice versa. First, I'm going to focus on the tones, and I'm going to smooth out some of these little circles under the eyes. And to do that, I could do that on the correction tones. So I'm going to go a brush of like 5%. I'm going to sample some of this lighter skin tone here and slowly just brush this on that layer to smooth out some of that darkness underneath the eyes. Resample over here because we don't want to put too light. Right. So before, after. I think I want to get a little of that redness off of her eyelid right here. Great. This looks good. Got a little tones here. Oh, wrong layer. All right, then I like the Magic Eyes setting on here. I'm gonna go ahead and apply that. While that loads, let me see if there's any comments. All right. All right, so this is going to add a little bit of light to the pupils here, or to the color in her eyes. And this is going to give it more of a painted look. I'm going to go a little bit far on this one and then dial it back with the sliders. Great. All right. Now I'm going to tone this down just a tiny bit because it goes from good to bad pretty quickly on the eyes. You don't want them to look too scary. Just want them to pop a little bit. All right. So now that that's done, what I want to do is I want to pull out some of the highlights and shadows and darken some of the shadows. I'm going to do that with a luminosity mask. And I use the Lumenzia plugin that creates some awesome luminosity masks. So right now I'm on a scale from light to darker. You can pick where you want your mask to be. So something like this, although it's really dark on here, pulling out the highlights, I don't want to go too crazy with them. So I'm going to create a curves mask with that luminosity mask on it. So you see it created my curves adjustment layer. If I hit Alt and hold that down, you can see that there's a mask in there. Anything that's white will be affected. Anything that's black will not. Perfect. It's a subtle adjustment. I'm going to do another one, but I'm going to go a little bit brighter this time. I might do a 4. That's way too bright. And I think I did a 5 last time. I did. All right, so I'm going to go 4, do a curves. Great. Let's bring this up a little bit. Good. All right. Let's do a little dodge and burn. Does anyone use the pencil tool anymore? Who uses the pencil tool? I feel like that's a tool that Photoshop can just like do away with. Pencil tool. I don't think I've ever used the pencil tool in Photoshop. You use the pencil tool in Photoshop. Leave a comment. Let me know what you use it for. I forgot it even existed up until now. Again, we're going for a painterly look on these. So I'm bringing this stuff up pretty high, and I could dial it back later by adjusting the opacity on the layer. Kind of like a little shadow right here. I think I'm going to adjust that in the toned layer. And I might smooth this out just a tiny bit. Let me work on those shadows a little bit. All right, I might dial this back quite a bit once I get this done because I'm not liking the way this tone is happening here. That looks weird, guys. I'm gonna get rid of that. I don't like where that went. We're gonna go about there. All right. So Sean says, I use the pencil tool with all my natural light photos. You wouldn't understand. Yes. I guess that is what people use it for. I didn't even remember that this was under here. Pencil tool? What's happening here? Pencil tool? they keep that and flick panning. Whenever you turn on Photoshop for the first time or have to reinstall it, flick panning and animated zoom are defaulted on. It looks like this just doesn't want to reload, so I'm gonna try to close that. Close the program. All right. So anyway, yeah. So I guess natural light photographers use them on their retouching. Use the pencil tool. All right. So it's looking pretty good. To sign your photo, yeah. Photographers use them to put their watermarks on their photos. Let's see if it. I mean, the pencil tool's like, come on. What is this, paint? You have every. Sign the photo. There we go. I mean, it's basically just the brush tool. There's no need for it anymore. Here we go. Big. If I was to do this watermark thing right, it would be like this. Perfect. All right. Now, let's see. I like this. I like this. All right. I'm going to try to adjust. I'm going to try to adjust some of the shadows. I want to give the shadows a little bit more of a bluer, cooler tone while having the highlights be a little bit warmer. So I'm going to do luminosity mask, but this time I'm only going to target the shadows. Great. And actually, I did that on the wrong adjustment layer. So what I'm going to do is create a color lookup. I'm going to drag that mask onto here, and I'm going to delete that one. So we'll go into color lookup, which loads some pretty cool LUTs. I have some that I downloaded, but I'm going to go with Foggy Night. There we go. Pretty good. Now, I do want this to be sharper in the eyes, so I'm going to add a sharpness layer. Great. Now, we do want this to be a little bit more painterly, so I'm going to do something to kind of give it a very smooth effect, but I'm going to also probably delete it because I never really like the way it turns out. So we're going to go filter, noise, median. Good. Wait for the green bar. I did try to have music playing while this was going on. I don't know if you guys can hear the music, but I downloaded some stock music. I just didn't want it to be too loud and annoying. All right, so here's my blurry mask that I'm going to hold Alt and hit the mask so it disappears. And then what I'm going to do is bring it below my dodge and layer and all my color correction layers because that's important. And now I'm going to go back to my brush tool. And with 25%, I'm just going to go over very lightly her skin and only her skin to kind of give it that soft, painterly feel. And again, if I go too far with this, I can always just slide back the opacity on it. It looks like she has a bruise right here. I need to fix that. Not a fan of that. That's for my dodge and burn layer. Let me get rid of that. I'm going to clean that up. This needs to blend a little bit more. All right. Yep, not a fan. Got rid of it. See you later. I do want to work. Let's see. I'll work a little bit more on the dodging. I hit some of these hair highlights over here. Fierce. All right, so now I'm going to use the infinite color panel, and I'm going to see what color correction treatments that this thing comes up with. That's not bad. A little flat. And I'm basically just looking for an overall cast or tone. Like I like that one. That one's pretty warm. So I'm going to bring that and dial it back quite a bit. And I'll probably wind up, because I really only want that on the highlights, I'm going to create another luminosity mask, a brighter one, something like that. I hit the select. And then I'm going to go to the infinite color panel group, and I'm going to add that to that. So now I can bring that up a little bit higher, and it's not going to affect my shadows. So now that infinite color panel color correction is only on the highlights in this mask. And I think I'm going to take the shadows again, and I'm going to color balance them to be a little bit more cyan and a little bit more blue. Boom. Let's see if we can bring down some of those hot spots. Pretty good. All right. So now I think the only thing left to do is to save it. Might mess with the saturation. You know what I want to do? I think I'm going to let me throw on a black and white layer. Change the black and white layer to luminosity. Make a few adjustments in the individual colors. All right. I like that. That looks pretty good. All right, let me load it up with nothing on the screen. Or not. There we go. So let's see the before and after. There's the before. There's the after. There you go. You guys have any questions? Let me know. I'm going to go ahead and save this out. And then, of course, save a PSD, which takes a little bit longer. That's why I only did that. JPEG first. I always save the JPEG first in case Photoshop decides to crash while saving the PSD. That way I at least have the JPEG. So save that out. That's it, guys. That's all I got for today. I'm going to start ramping these up a little bit more, probably do one a week. I've got some photos that I need to catch up on. And thanks, Sean. I will try that. I should do a whole live feed where I only use the pencil tool. I'm telling you, I think it's exactly like Wait, let's see what Photoshop says the pencil tool's used for. Come on, give me the tooltip. It doesn't even give you a reason. Anyway, I'm going to try to do these more often, once a week at least. I do have some photos that I need to catch up on as far as retouching goes. So a lot of them are a little bit basic like this, but I am going to try some more advanced stuff as we go and try to get some more composite stuff in here. I'm going to try to shoot more composite stuff in the future as well. So yeah, thanks for watching. And let me know if you have any questions. This will be saved on our YouTube as well as my Facebook, and I'll answer any questions you guys have. Have a good night.